What is going on, guys? I left my spooky guy beanie at home, so I'll be right back, guy. 444 here. I unfortunately had to pull out one of the OG beanies, so please bear with me. I have not worn this thing, and it doesn't even fit my head anymore. In a couple years, solid flat, I would say. Spooky guy 444 here, and today I am here with a continuation of my more documentary style videos. I think that these videos have been some of my best work. I've been really proud of almost all of them, and the one that I'm presenting to you here today has actually been one that I've had sitting in the vault since about February. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a brief rundown of the entire history of haunters and music. The haunter music scene is a scene that has really intrigued me for a couple of years now, since I myself have been involved in it a bit, and I think that it would be very interesting to kind of see and go back in time and learn some more about this stuff. A lot of this, I should mention, won't actually be in order like my other documentary style videos, but that's because I think in this video I just want to go over major events and not really a chronological build up and timeline to where we are today, and more just kind of talk about some things lost to time, the origin stories, and I actually have some very special interviews at the end of the video to showcase for you guys. So without further ado, I'm Spooky Guy 444, and this is the history of haunters and music. The earliest known evidence I can even find of haunters really working on music is in 2018 with Lazy Hub Studio. If you don't know who this is, he's a relatively more low-key haunter, not even really active in the community anymore, Jack Hubbard. He was making covers of songs for a couple years, and I must say they're very, very good. I will link some of his work down below in the description. You're actually listening to some of it in the background right now. I think that his work is very, very good, and I'm excited to see if he continues. He hasn't dropped any sort of project since 2021, so maybe we'll see something here near the end of the year, or maybe even come 2023. This is the oldest known documentation I can find of any sort of haunter making serious music, and there isn't going to be all serious music on this list, as we'll get to here very, very soon, but I must say I do really enjoy what he's been putting out, and I'm excited to see if he drops any more music. So this next one's for the OG Spooky Guy fans. Drama is the A word. Drama is, I'm just gonna call it DIA. DIA was a song that me and a couple of my haunter friends at the time made, where we took joke disses at many big haunters at the time. I remember mine was taking shots at HGJ Halloween. We'll get to him here soon. And I believe that there was some other ones. Nothing really major. It was all just playful. It was a joke song. None of us took it seriously. I still have the link in the song to it. You're actually listening to my verse in the background right now, and it was an interesting little thing that me and my friends did. I like to make jokes about it. It was a pretty iconic little thing, and there's actually people that still have the video, which I think is hilarious that it's like lost. It's not really lost though, because like I'm open to sharing it with people. It was just a part of my little archive that I did back in early 2021. Other than that, I still really do enjoy making music as a joke like this. I don't really do it much anymore, but it was fun. But let me talk about its lost brother. After we made DIA, a couple months later we had actually started working on DIA 2. DIA 2 was over the Hit 'Em Up by Tupac instrumental, and we didn't ever finish the song because it got leaked. It leaked on YouTube. Since public video is either now privated or deleted, I'm not really sure, but I remember while we were working on this, the video leaking was like a huge issue, and it caused a lot of drama in my little friend circle while we were working on it. Some of the people that were on this song were me, of course, Ascend the Clown Haunter, UVB Halloween, HalloweenCrazy.com, a few more names I'm not quite remembering right now. It was bigger than the first one. It was much longer, but it did not ever come out. It was actually much more serious, and that's probably one of the main reasons that we never dropped it, was because of its more serious nature. But other than that, there's really not much I even remember about this thing. It was over 2 years ago at this point. It was funny, but yeah, not really much to talk about with the second one. But it is lost, and I don't think any of us have that song still. so that's a shame. Some of my other favorite in terms of lost Haunter music media comes in with Ascend the Clown Haunter's song parodies. He actually still does these, and I'll actually play a clip of his newest Poland remix right now. I took the I think that these are hilarious, and he's been doing these for like longer than I've been in the active community, and I think they're absolutely hysterical. He has parodies that are actually lost the time of Mo Bamba by Sheck West, Moonlight by X, and a few other ones that aren't coming into my head right now, but he's been doing these forever. We've even made some together that just haven't ever seen the light of day. We did an Only by Nicki Minaj remix that never really, like I said, hit the light of day. And yeah, these are all basically lost except for the Poland one and I think one other. He makes music as a joke. It's pretty funny. I'll link some of his tracks down below if his account isn't private on Instagram, but I'm not really sure if it is or not. They're pretty funny. Go check them out if you want a quick laugh. And the kind of last piece of lost Haunter music media that I have to really talk about that I know of personally, that isn't unreleased music from some of the other names that we'll be bringing up here soon, is my Haunter rap album. The Haunter rap album was a project that me and a lot of names in the community were going to work on as a group project, and it got far. There was like one song left that we had to work on it. It had tracks from me, Halloween Haunter, TTS Haunts, UVB Halloween, Haunt Channel, Hauntastic, Mr. Halloween Junkie, Mr. Halloween, Jaden's Videos, BTRS Central. It was a lot of people. That might not even be all the names. It was a very big project, and we all put in our little input. It was a album that was supposed to release around Thanksgiving of 2020, but never came to the light. I'm not actually sure why this never happened. I think it's because none of us just felt like working on the last song. But it was really interesting. All of the music from this little thing that we had is completely wiped, except for maybe a song or two from Halloween Haunter, but I'm completely not sure. And then of course DIA was actually on this one, but once again, nothing here was ever officially made, and it was a complete joke. It is unfortunate that this never dropped, because I think it would have been a little funny moment in Haunter history, but it is really interesting to see just how much lost media there is just from Haunters like you and me. So I think the one major moment that actually caused the Haunter community to kind of become more big onto music was when Nick Lutzko, a musician that's been active for quite some time now, actually made a little acapella track about Spirit Halloween called The Theme of Spirit Halloween. Spirit Halloween liked this so much that they put him on to do a sequel called Unleash Your Spirit, and then he made a third one called Spirit Halloween Planet, I think. They're all joke songs. They're all pretty funny. I think Unleash Your Spirit's actually not that bad of a track, but it definitely isn't like a cultural masterpiece of any sort. But this was really when spirit music kind of went a little quote-unquote viral, and you actually saw a lot of Haunter artists coming up around the time of the release of this song. A lot of Haunters actually in the field, I know one that comes to mind is Sardonic's Halloween, actually does a lot of ambient music for projects that Mr. Halloween Junkie has put on, and maybe some of other Haunters content. I'm not really too active on the Discord side, so I don't know what really goes on there with musicians. I'm more active on the Instagram side, which actually has plenty of artists too. Some of the smaller ones I can mention that I think kind of came forth after this were Batch, Crackshed, who was predated that song, but we'll get to him in a second. Aiden K came on I think a little bit before, and Miss Dead by Dawn was another one. And we'll be getting to more of these here in a second, but I think that Unleash Your Spirit kind of getting so big really did bring more of a forefront to the Haunter music scene, from not only just rap music from Haunters, but all sorts of music, rock, ambient, you name it, it happened. So I'm actually going to make this little portion here kind of talk about the major names in terms of Haunter musicians. It's a little small niche of people, but the ones that do have a quote-unquote successful career are the ones that I'll be mentioning here. I'll start off with the two that we'll actually be getting to more in depth here later on. Aiden K. Aiden K is a, I guess you could say, post-rock artist out of the Haunter community. He's been making music for quite some time now. His debut single was called Sheriff. He has several projects in the vault and several songs. One of the major ones actually that he talked about with me that hasn't come out yet is a 30-minute ballad. And I do really want to hear it, because I've always been really interested in those like large, grand, like super lengthy songs, which I always find super interesting. He also ended up releasing a album that ties into his haunt, Moonlight Museum, which he did and works with Tyler Cantrell, a frequent collaborator of Aiden K, which was a really great project. I think it tied into the haunt perfectly, and one that I think I would love to see more haunters do is bring in maybe not their own music, but a sound and a theme to their haunts. I think that's just a great idea, and I think Aiden absolutely did that excellently. Dead by Dawn is the other major haunter that we'll be getting to, that we'll be going more in depth on. Of course, if you don't know who Dead by Dawn is, he is a synthwave musician. You may know him as Mr. Halloween Haunter. He's definitely more known for his music, and I completely understand why. I think what he does is absolutely great. He does an absolutely great job, especially with the guitar work. I think he's fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what he does. Like I said, we'll be getting more in depth with Aiden K and Mr. Halloween Haunter here very, very soon, near the end of the video. And finally, I want to talk about Tyler Hunt. So Tyler Hunt was probably the biggest catalyst for haunter music other than Nick Lusko, and that's because Tyler Hunt, he's pursued a couple careers. HGJ Halloween is what you might formally know him as. HGJ has gone through a couple different careers. He had a Lego set YouTube channel, he had a ASMR YouTube channel, he of course had his Halloween YouTube channel, and then he became a musician. He was a more run-of-the-mill generic pop type of artist when he first came out, and honestly never thought slaps, never thought is a really solid song. I actually quite like it. He actually started releasing music that was more oriented towards the LGBT community, and there's nothing wrong with that. I support it. But with that big change in Tyler Hunt's music, he actually hasn't dropped a lot recently. I think the last time was like early 2022 is when he was releasing music. He did a Pushin' P song, so that was a little interesting, and we'll actually be getting to Tyler Hunt more near the end of the video. There's a couple other smaller songs, like there was a Spear Halloween rap. There was two, I think, actually. One was done by Kids, which was cute, I guess, and then the other one was done by the Psychotic Circus of Savannah, where he actually tried and went extremely hard. It was a cultural reset for that little side of the community, like his main fan base. It's not a bad song, but obviously I'm not gonna go and make myself listen to various YouTubers rap about Halloween decor. That's not really my shtick. But I think that the appeal is there, and I think that the certain age demographic would absolutely, of course, love that stuff. So I'm not gonna knock them. You do you. It's not my thing. Now, obviously, this isn't every single haunter musician. Obviously, there is much, much more, and I'm not gonna go and list them all because it's such a vast array of people. Obviously, none of them have really quite taken off, or some of them are just like not doing it for fun and aren't taking their career seriously, and that's fine. That is completely fine. But basically, that is really where I have to stop with kind of talking about the major moments. I think the world of haunters and music is still very, very young, and it has long, long ways to go. Some of my favorite tracks to come out of this are, like I said, Spear Halloween Rap by Psychotic Circus of Savannah, Where Do We Go Now by Aiden K. Basically all of Dead by Dawn's music I think is spectacular, and a lot of the stuff from Crackshed I also think is very, very good. All of these guys have potential for great futures in a music career, and I'm very excited to see where all of them go. With that out of the way, I actually have 3 very special interviews to show for you guys. Today I will be interviewing 3 different haunters and their respective music acts. We'll be talking about, in this order, Aiden K, Mr. Halloween Haunter, and Crackshed. In these 3 interviews, they'll be kind of flip-flopping between each other, so I'm sorry if it does get a bit confusing. I'll ask a question and I'll show each of their responses in like chronological order, so it might get a little confusing, but just bear with me with that warning ahead. Aiden K, aka Aiden K, Mr. Halloween Haunter, aka Dead by Dawn.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
For our third and final interview here, we have the one, the only professional rapper himself.
Hi, it's me, Willow Loves Halloween.
Hey. Crackshed, the rapper. So, how did you get into music?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess from the point when I was little, I was always listening to music from my dad. Was just playing music in the house all the time. I got more interested in kind of older rock music, 70s, 80s rock, and then ended up just kind of taking on the drums in 6th grade. And from then on, I just kind of started picking up more and more instruments. I started writing my own stuff. I mean, it was really a natural progression from listening to music to actually writing my own stuff. And then started releasing about a year ago, and it's all been downhill since then.
I've always had like a passion for making music at a young age. I've kind of experimented with different genres of music, more specifically in the 80s. I kind of started off with 80s rock music. Some of the artists being Tom Petty was one of my big influencers in getting into music. And I had discovered a few other genres in the 80s, specifically synthwave and dark synthwave. And there were a few bands, Dance with the Dead and Carpenter Brut, Midnight Danger. They were the ones who really got me into making my music, and they kind of helped build what I've kind of wanted to do for a long time, which was making music. So I've kind of built upon learning how to play piano and guitar. I guess I've always loved horror since I was young, especially Halloween, which I guess is why I started Mr. Halloween Haunter. But I've always had this passion for horror movies, and specifically the John Carpenter music and the horror movie themes from the 80s. So I thought I'd kind of work off of that and create Dead by Dawn.
Awesome. This is like, okay, so basically how I started like getting into music is there's a rapper, his name is Shaka Muli. I got inspired to make music like his, like meme rap kind of. I downloaded this little like band, like multi-track band recorder shit on my phone, like this little app. It's weird. I made like this weird like piano instrumental and recorded some horrible vocals over it, and that was my first song. And I just started doing that up until like early 2020. I got on a BandLab.
So you said you've been making music for a year?
Yeah.
So that was my second question, how long you've been making music, but were there any, like, I don't want to say like legitimate songs, but like was there like times when you were younger where you try to make music, like say on like an old phone or? Oh
yeah. I was writing and recording songs for maybe 5 years before I started releasing.
Yeah.
There are so many demos and just unreleased stuff in the vault that will never see the light of day. But there's definitely a backlog of stuff that never got released that was old. But yeah, I'd say like 5 years before. Yeah.
Cool. How long have you been making music for?
Specifically dark synthwave, I've been making it since about 2018. I had an original name of Cassette Terror, which if some of you guys might remember that, then you were the OGs of Dead by Dawn. But I had produced a small little, I produced a small little demo, I think called Tonight They Come, and it was basically based off of a John Carpenter hype song in a horror movie, essentially. And then I started producing a little bit more of demo tracks and kind of expanded from that. And then I basically officially created Dead by Dawn in summer of 2019 and continued from there.
Since about late May of 2019.
All right. Who are your biggest inspirations musically?
I'd say, I mean, obviously people who know me know David Bowie right off the bat.
Yeah.
Is probably the main one, but I mean, a lot of people who he worked with at the time, such as like, Adrian Belew and people like that who I actually got to meet and see live, who was awesome. People at the time like Frank Zappa, and then even slightly more recently like Radiohead, stuff like that has always been big influence for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I listen to a wide variety of artists. I think I kind of stay into a little box, but I definitely have, my influences have changed over the years, but those are pretty much the solid ones. Yeah.
Yeah, Dance with the Dead, Carpenter Brut, Midnight Danger, those were basically the three main artists that got me into making dark synthwave.
Okay. Biggest inspirations, like Blade, Cemetery, Echo CK, pretty much like all the Drain Gang and Haunted Mound. Earlier inspirations, as you know, were Shotgun Willie, which kind of still a little reminiscent of my music. Also, my good friend and collaborator is XLXD. Definitely, you can hear a lot of his music influence. No, a lot of, you know what I mean. Of my songs are influenced by his. Yeah, I didn't know how to word that.
This is my favorite question. So, as the man that made the theme to Hugs Times, Chad had actually asked me before this, so this is what I'm interested in, because he asked me to make a song before, probably like back in March. But what was it like working on the soundtrack for Hugs Times?
Oh man, Hugs Times was fun, man. That was a fun experience because, I mean, Chad definitely had a sound that he was going for, and he had very specific instructions to follow. But within those instructions, there was a lot of playroom. So, especially for the theme, he basically told me I want a rock track that just kind of is a headbanger sort of track, and I wrote that. I wrote the riff for that probably back in March of last year, and I had a very early demo that got very famous within our friend group, and then I rewrote it a couple months ago, and that was just a really fun experience. That's one of my favorite riffs I've ever written, just because I think it's funny, but I think it turned out really well.
Like, I'll catch myself listening to it sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. I think it turned out really well, but yeah, I mean, that was just a really fun, that was less serious work and more just fun going at it.
You played a really big role in the development of the Hug Time soundtrack. What was what was it like working on the Hug Time soundtrack?
I mean, Chad had sent me a message asking if I wanted to make music. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I did not expect to produce any of what I had produced. I thought it was going to be some small little things, but it was a really fun project in the end. I'm really happy I was able to work with everyone with Hugs Times, and I only thought it was going to be a few episodes, but from what I've heard, what might be happening is going to get pretty exciting. So hopefully I'll be able to produce some more tracks for them. I have a lot of unreleased stuff I kind of showed Chad, so hopefully he approves of some of them and features it on some future stuff. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I'm always really excited to see what Chad pulls out for the Dollverse or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, after all, he's Doll Man, so.
All right, and then my final question is, can we expect more music in the future or coming soon?
Oh, absolutely. I was, in fact, sitting here at my piano composing something minutes ago. So there's stuff in the works, and there's stuff that's been in the vaults for a while that probably will be coming out soon. So you can definitely expect new music soon.
Oh, yes. For this year, I might be releasing an EP towards the end of the year. I'm going to be mainly focusing on promoting what I have so far. I've kind of taken a break from producing music, but mainly focusing on just promoting it, just so I can get more of the followers and listeners. So The Stranger Next Door was kind of like my last project so far. I have been working on a music video, possibly. It's been in the works for quite some time now. I have a few songs I might want to experiment with, but that should be coming out possibly during the summer. I have not filmed it yet. I've have a filming location picked out and an idea, but so far there hasn't been much work on it as of right now, but expect that sometime soon. Another big project is coming probably within the next few months. I'm not going to give much away, but it might feature a few artists, so we'll have to see how this goes, but I'm excited to release it.
Awesome. I'm excited. I've always really enjoyed the stuff that you put out, and definitely can't wait to see where you go in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm working on some projects right now. Couple like an EP, an album, you know.
The streets need to know. Do we have a set date on the EP and the album?
Late quarter this year for the EP, early next year for the album.
All right.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is everything. Thank you for coming on, Willow.
No problem, Spooky Man 444.
Thank you for coming on here tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Aiden. And now we are going to be going into Dead by Dawn's interview. I'm probably going to cut that part out. That shit was ass. But so now with that out of the way, I think now it is time to talk about there was supposed to be a fourth interview. I'm sorry the video did quite end on a sour note, but like I did say, I think that the community has a lot of potential to make some really great music in the future, especially the 3 people that I did interview. I think that they are the most talented. Obviously, I think all of them have their own special talents, and I'm really excited to see where all of these basically go. With that being said though, I am Spooky Guy 444, and I hope you guys did enjoy this little documentary on the world of haunters and music. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.